back in action. Alrighty. Start up. As I had mentioned, we are going over chapter 10, or not chapter 10, but section 10 of Joshua, and we've been stretching it and stretching it. I've certainly been taking some days of rest here and there, but we're finally wrapping it up. We have some different allocations we will discuss for the cities of refuge and for the Levites. And I'll go ahead and just open up with this quote. It might seem a little bit far off from what we're discussing, but it kind of touches on what I was speaking about in the last video, in the introduction. So, it reads, "When he was angry, one of his eyes became so terrible that no person could bear to behold it, and the wretch upon whom it was fixed instantly fell backwards and sometimes expired. For fear, however, of depopulating his dominions and making his palace desolate, he rarely gave way to his anger." Alright, and this is called Bathek, maybe from Bathek. It says, from a book, 1782, 3rd edition, 1816, first paragraph, who knows, right? This is just the little source right at the end. And it also says this is Max Beerham, 1872. Oh, I can't even right now. No, this is for the next ones. Just ignore me. My citations, that's the word I was looking for. My citations are all over the place. I'm not really sure. And they're so ancient sounding that I really have no idea. But anyways, this quote is about anger. When he was angry, one of his eyes became so terrible, and he fixed it on individuals, and they would fall backwards or even die. And for fear of depopulating his dominions, he rarely gave way to his anger. So this sounds like something like a king or something, because it's saying his dominions, right? Depopulating his dominions sounds something like the anger and the wrath of a king. So what were we just talking about, though? We were talking about how earth and the heavens belong to the Lord. That's his dominions. And yes, we have seen time and time again that he can get angry. And what does that do? It depopulates the earth, essentially, whether it be a little or a lot. Whether it be, a few townships or a hard reset of the entire population. So what happens, right? It's not to say that it is a bad trait, because I feel like everybody harbors some anger, and however those waves of energy affect those around you, can be devastating sometimes. So it's good, yes, to control. This is also talking about self-control and controlling your anger, especially when it comes to do with other people, right? So definitely, putting a tight rein on that, and let the one who is best, the one who does have all the responsibility, let him deal with the anger as he will. I think we always talk about in the Quran, how he is the best judgment. He is the final judgment, and he is the best judge. He is the best one at enacting that perfect karma, if you will, right? He's very, very adept at that. So, yes, he's the best. So leave it in, if you get angry, maybe just leave it in the hands of God. I think you would be happy and surprised at the outcome, especially if your heart is leaning towards seeking revenge. But this quote doesn't really have too much to do with what we're talking about, but again, it does say something about his dominions and depopulation and things like that. Basically what is happening here is the opposite, in a way. I mean, the Israelites are moving into these towns, different things that have been allocated. We definitely took some time off to let everybody move in. And now there's just a few last orders of business to be taken care of. This quote would actually go really good with something into Judges. We'll learn about what is to come in Judges. It's a lot of back and forth, and the Lord's anger is exhibited, but not in a, super destructive way. but it definitely is, teetering. And yeah, we'll learn about it. I don't want to go into that whole rampage, but I read ahead just a little bit. Let's go ahead and start with chapter 20. Joshua. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Tell the Israelites to designate cities of refuge, as I instructed you through Moses, so that anyone who kills a person accidentally and unintentionally may flee there and find protection from the avenger of blood." Oh, well, duh, right? This is actually very much in relation to what we were talking about. Anger, right? And somebody accidentally or unintentionally killing somebody due to their anger. We have these, I don't even want to call them jails, but there are just entire cities of refuge where they can go and find protection from maybe people who might be upset at whatever outcome had taken place. So we've talked about these cities of refuge before. They've been established before in, don't ask, actually. I don't remember where we talked about them and where they would have been. Cities of refuge. It might have been even in Exodus. I'm not entirely sure. When Moses was active, I think they did have some cities of refuge. I believe they did. All right, let's go ahead and continue. So they set apart Kedesh in Galilee, in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Araba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. So quite a few places, and again they kind of scattered them about. That is the towns of refuge, or the cities of refuge. Now the family heads of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the other tribal families of Israel at Shiloh in Canaan, and said to them, "The Lord commanded through Moses that you give us towns to live in, with pasture lands for our livestock." So yes, this is true. I don't know how it was decided. I think, just in the excitement of everything, the tribes who were kind of on the front lines, right, wanted to receive their inheritance in full and firstly, and then the Levites did kind of get left out of the picture. They're like, oh, well, the Levites, they're with the church, or not the church at this time, they're with the tent. They're with the tent, they have the tabernacle, they have all that stuff to take care of. Let them kind of figure it out. But the Levite clans, they weren't just like a group of 5, 10, 15 people. They were giant, clans and families and everything like that. So they definitely needed just a good amount of space to be allocated to them. But the difference with them is they didn't have, just a giant space for all the Levites. Much like, how the other tribes were assigned to like an area with borders. They didn't necessarily have that for them. That's why it was kind of left out a little bit once they got through to everybody. But now, they're like, give us some towns. So what they ended up doing is setting aside already, what am I trying to say? Setting aside already allocated towns within the other tribes. So we had a lot of the other tribes actually give up some of their towns and land. So the Levites would actually kind of live scattered about everybody, which is interesting, right? But that tended to work really well. Instead of giving them a whole section or having to go to war again and find some more land for all of them, they just kind of placed the tribes throughout all of the other tribes, which made sense because, again, they were priests, they were servicers of the tabernacle and the tent, everything like that. So they were supposed to kind of be all around, offering sacrifices, that sort of thing. And then, of course, I think there will be a central location for them as well, but I'm not entirely sure. So now we have, let's go, the descendants of Merari, according to their clans, received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So they had 12 towns. And it says here, and from the tribe of Benjamin they gave Gibeon, Geba, Ananoth, and Almon, together with the pasture land, 4 towns. And this, I broke it up, but this is actually for the priests, or the descendants of Aaron. The total number of towns for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, came to 13, together with their pasture lands. The Levite clans of the Gershonites were given the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan and Bashan, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Be-Ashtra, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. The Merari, and again, it says 2 towns here for this tribe, but there was other towns that they were assigned to in total. I'm just kind of running through it. Each of them pretty much got an even allocation. It says the Merari clans, the rest of the Levites, were given Kedemoth and Mappath, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. The total number of towns allotted to the Merari clans, who are the rest of the Levites, came to 12. Alright, so that is that. The Levites got, some good places for them, and again, within the other tribes. And the other tribes, let's see how it gets loud. The garbage truck. Anyways, the other towns were generous enough to, of course, give up their land for the Levites, but they also had quite a bit. They had, a lot of space to kind of spread out, so it makes sense that, they would share. And again, we don't really cover every single little piece, but it's there. If you want to go to Joshua and check out, the extensiveness of the allocation, you're more than welcome. Other than that, you guys, that's all I have for you for today. Gotta finish this up. I'm gonna do some transcription, just finish up Joshua, and we'll kind of get right into, we'll get right into Judges if I can get some time in there, and I'll spend some time. It's gonna be a lot getting into Judges, so I'm already kind of not really looking forward to it, but it's cool. It's gonna be a little repetitive. Gotta just get through it. It shouldn't be too long. Alright, well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Oh. Bye-bye.